Blade, this is your rescue. All right. Welcome back, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, to the Scary Sci-Fi Sluts podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Kenny from Chicago.
And I'm Brandon, coming at you from Sandy, Oregon.
And what are we talking about today, Brandon?
We are talking about the most hyped up movie of the Scary Sci-Fi Sluts universe, Blade Trinity. Unfortunately. Yeah. So you can thank us or scowl us later for concluding out the trilogy, but we had to do it.
Yeah, backed by popular demand, of course.
Yep. So we're giving the people what they want.
Blade Trinity released December 8th, 2004. Had a budget of $65 million, which is, I guess, back in that time, that's still pretty low. I don't know. I don't really know off the top of my head what the average, big budget action movie, budget was at the time. I feel like this is still really low, though.
Well, for reference, the Matrix budget was 63 million, and boy, did they do better.
Was that 2000?
That was 99.
99. Okay.
So not much earlier.
But
so
I feel
it should have been
2000. Let's see, when was the third one released? Matrix Revolution? I don't know. Beyblade Revolutions. That was probably like 2003 or something. I feel like the budget for that would be a bit higher.
Oh my God.
Or also to compare, Return of the King came out in 2003, and that budget was like 90 million or something, so not much more than this. And we all know, without us even talking about it, we all know the difference in quality between those two films.
Well, and here's another one. If you want even more reference, a few years later, 2007, Ghost Rider came out, and that budget was 110 million for God knows what.
Because
all for Nicolas Cage.
Nick Cage.
But that is not the movie we're talking about
yet. Box office return worldwide for Blade Trinity was 132, so that's not even double. Wait, no, my math is wrong. It's just over double of what the budget was. However, if you take into consideration like marketing costs and all that stuff, this probably broke even, is what I want to say. I don't think it was a profit.
That's always crazy to me in reference that like double your budget is not a hit.
Yeah.
Like, because to like the random person, that's insane. But for big movie industries, that's terrible. Like,
yeah,
seeing what Marvel can do.
I don't know how like all that money that goes into the marketing. Like, I wonder if it's just TV ads or something like promotion. Some movies you can think of will get tons and tons and tons of promotion, like Avatar. I remember when that came out, for example. It was like every other commercial on TV. It was like, groundbreaking technology, must-see movie. And so that's why that movie made $2+ almost $3 billion. So Blade Trinity, directed by David S. Goyer. I thought this was his directorial debut. Apparently it's not. I think he did one movie before this, but you can definitely tell directing is not this guy's forte. He should not be doing this at all.
Now we've heard that name before, though. What else is he more known for? Do you know?
So, well, he's the writer for all three of these movies.
Okay.
And he's, if you remember our conversation last time when we were covering the previous Blade, he did a lot of comic book adaptation stuff and like some video game stuff, and He like helped out writing the story on the Dark Knight trilogy. So he seems to have some comic book background knowledge, but uh, I don't know, as far as real life dialogue, I don't think this guy's there. Cinematographer was Gabriel Beristain again, who was cinematographer for Blade 2, um, which once we start talking about the movie, I got some things to say about that. And then written solely by David S. Goyer. Produced by Avia Rod again, same guy who I think he was a Sony head, or maybe he was head of Marvel at the time. So he's got his hands all over different Marvel properties. Wesley Snipes, another producer, and then Stan Lee. And,
let's be serious right now. The only real producer that was there was Wesley Snipes. I don't. Well, it was a pissing contest between him and Stan Lee. If Stan Lee was ever there, I don't think Avi got to do any kind of decision making.
I don't know, he's probably just like, take the money. Here's the property. Don't make a shit product, and then look. Well, I guess should we get into the plot summary, or you want to get in some trivia first?
Let's do some trivia.
All right, start popping some out.
That way we can start on a high note, and then
and gradually tank like the stock market.
All right, so Jessica Biel actually ended up breaking a camera that cost $300,000. So not the biggest camera breaking of the century. I think that record goes to Chris Nolan for breaking the 4K camera.
Yep.
But she shot an arrow directly into it, which was pretty impressive because they had like a shield around it, and I guess it had like just a small hole. And she had been practicing for so long that she hit it right in the bullseye. So that's pretty badass.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I think that was at 50 feet too, which is crazy. Early idea.
This one point where it's this is off of IMDb trivia, so I'm not sure the amount of truth to this, but I could see it being true. It says when he asked what it was like when he was asked what it was like working with Wesley Snipes, Ryan Reynolds said sincerely that I'm going to say it in his voice, I never met Wesley Snipes on this film, not for a second. I only met Blade. And that's one of the things that I've heard a lot, is that this was one of the movies where Wesley Snipes kind of lost his cool. Because like in another bit of trivia, Patton Oswalt kind of backs up that comment in saying that he and David S. Goyer, Wesley Snipes and David S. Goyer were butting heads so much, and Wesley Snipes was having like some type of mental breakdown, or just like I don't know, something egotistical going on. And this is where he wouldn't come out of his trailer for like a whole shooting day. And I guess he would only communicate to people via Post-it notes. And yeah, he only answered by the name of Blade and not Wesley Snipes.
Which is super interesting because I don't think he's a method actor. So this is kind of like a weird step aside to...
Maybe he actually thinks he is Blade. I don't know.
That could be possible.
What else you got?
Patton Oswalt also alleged that Snipes had spent most of his time smoking marijuana in his trailer and became violent when Goyer accused him and falsely accused Goyer of racism. So yeah, he was off in his own little world for Blade 3. Triple H impressed the producers so much with his work ethic and camera presence that New Line insisted that extra lines be written in the script to make his role bigger.
God,
I think he was one of the better parts of this movie.
Are you kidding me?
That's saying a lot.
We'll get into it. Oh God.
I just think he was probably the only thing that like wasn't crazy, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
A alternate ending, so future spoilers, had Abigail and Hannibal fighting a werewolf vampire hybrid in the casino, possibly setting up a Night Stalkers spinoff. That would have been so much better.
But that would be too much like the Underworld series, because that's what the whole series is about. It's the hybrids.
Yeah, but I think that's why it would have been a lot cooler if they did get into that world and kind of did some crossovers between like actual Underworld. But that's way too ahead of their time to be able to pull off a move like that. Another alternate script by David S. Goyer was where the vampires had finally achieved world domination and enslaved all humans, with Blade being the last hope for humanity. Also a better movie, probably. What else you got for trivia?
Let's see. What do we got here? I mean, I'm just hearing a lot of strife between Wesley Snipes and like Chris Christopherson with David S. Goyer and like not liking where he went with the script. So I wonder if there's any truth to that.
I also heard he called Ryan Reynolds a cracker.
Who? Wesley Snipes?
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds, he
deserved it.
Yeah, he seems the type of person to get called that frequently based on what I assume is his, characteristics, his behavior. It says Colin Farrell was offered the role of Hannibal King before Reynolds, but turned it down.
I think that could have been good.
I think that would have been better.
Yeah.
I actually just finished watching True Detective season 2, and Colin Farrell is one of the main characters in it, and I haven't seen him in too much, but his acting in that season, even though the season wasn't as good as the first one, it was really good. Like I really liked his character, and I thought he did really well. I know Stephen Norrington was offered, and I think Guillermo del Toro were both offered to direct the third movie, but then they both turned it down because Stephen Norrington, I think he just didn't want to, and Guillermo del Toro went off to do Hellboy, so he's like, "Fuck this shit, I'm doing my own thing."
But he directed the second one, right?
Yeah.
What the hell? So I wonder if he just thought it was too cheesy to make a third one, or if there wasn't enough money there, like what the reasoning was.
Well, no, because Hellboy released, I think, the same year as 2004, so he would have had to, he would have had to give that up and then work on this instead. And
plus, they couldn't bring Ron Perlman back; he's already dead. Like, it'd be kind of weird.
Find a way.
I want him back.
Be like Ghost Visions or something of Ron Perlman.
Oh my! It's like Ra's al Ghul for Dark Knight Rises.
Yep. Let's see. Anything else exciting here? I'm just browsing through the IMDb trivia. It is probably about it as far as interesting stuff.
Yeah, I think we got all the nitty gritty and the deep secrets of Blade Trinity.
Yeah, not much here. All right. Well, next, I guess we can start digging into the plot summary.
All right, get your Reynolds voice going.
I'll kick us off. Oh, what's the line? How exactly does he say it in the beginning? Like,
forget everything you know.
Forget everything you know about vampires and Dracula. Yes.
Perfect.
I'm Deadpool.
Oh wait, wrong movie.
Dumb dick penises. All right. So we start off the movie with a stupid Ryan Reynolds voiceover about how everything we know about Dracula is wrong, yada, yada, yada. And we then see an elite strike force vampire team. They look real badass in this intro. Turned out they're really not that badass. Made up of Triple H, for whatever fucking reason he's in this movie. A chick who looks like Evangeline Lilly on meth. The guy who plays Lucifer from Supernatural. Some other random dude who dies.
Wait, was he really in this?
Yeah, he was like one of the sidekicks.
What a waste.
He had no role. He had no purpose.
Damn.
And some other dude in the desert somewhere in the Middle East. They dig up an ancient vampire, Drake, that we later learn is actually the famed and beloved Dracula. But for some reason, he has no Transylvanian accent because he's played by the Australian actor Dominic Purcell from Prison Break fame.
And Legends of Tomorrow. Come on.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet, so I don't know.
Sorry, I got you. I'm all caught up on CW. So I'll call it out.
Why did they dig up Drake slash Dracula? Reasons. For something along the lines of Blade's killing us all, and we need more Daywalkers so we can kill Blade. I really don't fucking know. Then this same squad of vampires then sets Blade up for murdering one of their human familiars. And if you guys remember from the first two movies, familiars are basically human bitches of vampires that get stamped, basically owned by a vampire with the promise at some point to turn them into a vampire. It's really weird. And they record Blade killing this familiar using found footage shaky cam from a distance and send it into the FBI, who then starts a full force hunt for Blade.
Pretty clever. I'll give them that one.
If they could do that, why didn't they do that, in the first movie? I don't know. Whatever.
So then the FBI follows Whistler and Blade back to their super secret hideout, which is super stupid ridiculous, where both Blade and Whistler murder over a dozen FBI agents before Whistler blows the place up. For whatever reason, Blade gets captured and questioned by the FBI. And of course, the two of his captors are vampire familiars. Triple H, Meth Lily, and Lucifer come to capture Blade, but are interrupted by Deadpool and Girl Hawkeye, pretty much, played by Jessica Biel. They successfully help Blade escape by walking out the front door of the FBI building after killing countless number of agents and hitching a ride with a stereotypical black character, blasting hip hop on his radio. Essentially,
movie.
It's a very good picture.
They go back to Deadpool and Hawkgirl's base and introduce Blade to the rest of their team, self-named the Night Stalkers, as if that wasn't the most generic, dumb-sounding name ever. We have Patton Oswalt, for some reason, and the lesbian character from American Pie. The Night Stalkers have been creating a stupid gas cloud thing that can kill all vampires if it mixes in with Drake's blood, since he is the OG vampire. Drake attacks the base and kills American Pie chick, Patton Oswalt, and hip-hop radio guy. And for absolutely no reason whatsoever, he captures Deadpool and doesn't kill him. Actually, there is a reason, sorry. It's so that Ryan Reynolds can take his shirt off for 20 minutes of the movie.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I just want to get into it so much here, but got to hold off. So Blade and Hawkgirl suit up and storm the tech startup that Drake and his goons are at. That's good. And a big dumb fight ensues. Deadpool kills Triple H after engaging in a WWE match with him and does absolutely nothing else, but he is dumb and useless. Hawkgirl kills Lucifer. I still don't remember that this is actually Lucifer.
Yep.
I looked right over it. And other nameless vampire goons dressed like they work at Google. And Blade kills Drake by stabbing him with the toxin or whatever the hell it is. This then leads the toxin becoming airborne and kills all vamps. And they all get emphysema and die.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Blade disappears before the FBI show up, and Deadpool does the final voiceover. Pretty much. Yeah.
That's there you have it.
We just saved you about 2 hours.
Yeah, an hour and 52 minutes, I think it was, or 55 minutes that I wish I could get back. Well, just initial thoughts before we actually dive in. When the credits rolled, what were you thinking?
So they definitely stayed true to their opening fashion. So it was exactly the same as the first two movies. We start with like someone being followed, like an innocent, and then a big fight breaks out with Blade. I mean, obviously we had the Drake stuff right before that, But then right after that, we get the exact same opening that we've had the past two movies, and almost the exact same from the first or the latter two, because then it ends with a fight at the base because they got followed home. So I thought that was pretty cheesy. It was almost exactly the same because we see Blade starting off with all his new weapons and tech. So we got to show those off in the first 2 minutes.
Which, again, just like the other movies, he never uses again, really, in the rest of the movie.
So yeah, that was rough. We got Drake being woken up unceremoniously, just straight to it. It's like they did not want to take the time to introduce him.
Because he was a dumbass character.
What do you got for the first few minutes before we go deeper?
Well, I really hated this whole beginning part, like pretty much the whole first act. All three acts of this movie I hate. But the second the movie starts, and it's like it starts off in the Middle East, helicopters dropping off these vampires, and you hear Ryan Reynolds' voice, I think to myself, fuck, this is gonna be a long 2 hours. Seconds into the movie. Here's the thing. 9.5 out of 10 times in movies, if it starts off with a voiceover, exposition, dialogue, whatever, the movie's not going to be good.
Unless you're Lord of the Rings, you do not get to do a voiceover.
Right. If they have to tell you something instead of just being able to show you in that expository way, like, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And so they wake up Drake and whatever, and you don't really know what's going on. The whole interaction lasts about a minute or two. Some dude dies, Drake pops out of the ground, and you don't see anything else after that. Then we transition to Blade doing his usual John Wick intro, except this time it's so much worse than the previous two. It's David S. Goyer cannot direct for fucking shit. Like, I made note of this like all throughout the movie. I'm usually a really big fan of extreme close-ups. So for those of you who don't know, there's different types of like shots in movies. You can have like a wide shot. You can have like long distance shots. You can have close-up shot, which is, I believe close-up is where it's you get like chest, shoulders up, like basically where I am in the zoom camera right now. And then you have extreme close-up, which is like here. And you don't just use extreme close-ups for no reason unless you're David S. Goyer. Like, so much of this movie, Hank, stop licking your butthole. So much of this movie is shot in extreme close-ups for absolutely no reason. And I think it's because he's such a shitty director that if he shot in a wider shot, you would see, CGI, too much like CGI shit in the background that looks terrible. You would see, props and, cast and crew in the background. And he just doesn't know how to shoot a fucking movie. Like, you're supposed to get a dramatic effect out of getting such a close-up shot of a character or multiple characters, and it's not used properly in this movie, and it's all over the place, and it makes me so mad. Like, during this intro scene when Blade's like hunting these vampires, we should be seeing, big wide angle shots of him fighting a couple vampires, but no, we see like his face. We see the vampire's face. It's cut. There's so many goddamn cuts in this movie too. It's like the combination of extreme close-ups and a million cuts it just hurts to watch. Like, he clearly doesn't know how to shoot action, because if you have to cut 18 times for a person throwing a punch, then clearly you don't know how to make a movie. You don't know how to direct action. And
do you think though that part of this could be because he's trying to do that thing where like he's trying to make his own special imprint on the movie and show his like artful director skills and really come out of the gates looking crazy and get awards, but then it like just tanks and
Yeah, I mean, this is the
flops on
time,
himself.
2004. This was around the time where, like a lot of movies, action movies, were starting to use the quick cuts. Like I think that the Bourne movies really started to kick that off, and the first one was like, what
Oh,
was it,
much better movie.
2005 or 2004 or something. But I haven't seen it. I hear it's a good movie, good series, but I do
You
know
haven't
from
seen the
the
Bourne series?
no, because one of the reasons is because I've seen snippets of how they do their a million cuts in a 1 minute scene, and I
Hmm.
really really hate that. It's so disorienting. Like, why do you have to cut 6 times from me walking 2 steps towards you and throwing a punch at you? It's like, oh, we see you coming this way, then we see you coming this way, then we see you coming this way, then this way. Like, maybe you're right. Maybe David S. Goyer was jumping on this bandwagon, thinking, "Oh, it's hot now. This new technique, like everyone's doing this so much." But really, what it tells the viewer is you don't know how to direct an action scene. You don't know how to, uh, like your stunt choreography isn't good enough or something. Like you just can't capture in one image or 2 or 3 different angles all the stuff
Hmm.
happening. So you have to like cut and get a close up of the punch, get a close up of the reaction, and then stitch it together. It's not flattering. Like it really gives you a bad taste at the start of this movie. Um,
Yeah, I think if he was gonna do all those close-ups, then what they should have done is included a couple slow-mo cams where like Blade is doing something crazy or like really beating up a guy and you see the guy's like face getting like smushed in or like something along those lines could have made it at least a little bit more rewarding.
Right, like if
Um
you're gonna do that, you have to have some type of reason. So if they did like Mortal Kombat X-ray style, like they did in one of the movies,
yeah.
like that would be cool. If like I could see that working better with multiple cuts, and then you do like the extreme close up, and you see the jaw, like the X-ray vision of the jaw
Yeah.
smashing or whatever. But no, just
Not
no
every
bullshit.
other scene close up, no reason at all, just
Yep. This
yeah.
this
There was
motherfucker will have Blade sitting down, extreme close up of his face, and then 10 cuts of different angles of Blade's face. Like, God.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So then, moving on past that part, we then we see Whistler again. He gets brought back in, and they have their
God.
shitty dialogue, witty banter. Like I never liked this relationship. I'm so glad Whistler died, but notice how it's like during the FBI raid of their hideout, like Whistler goes around to delete all these files of stuff. What is he deleting? Like he goes to like
Yeah,
4 different
what?
computers and we never know what it is he's deleting, but he's very adamant about deleting these files. Is it porn? Is it child porn, Whistler? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, how much like craziness could they have on their computers? It's not like they're uncovering the secrets of the world.
Right. It,
Um,
it's got to be child porn. That's my theory.
yeah, that's why they killed him. Yeah, I don't think Whistler really fit into this series past the first one. Like setting up his mentor was good for the first one,
Yeah.
but then for the second and third one, I don't know how much they paid him for his little cameos, but I think they spent way too much and they could have allotted that money for like more visual effects and I don't know, hire a better director.
Mhm.
Um,
No one
but
wanted to direct this movie.
it just didn't make any sense because he dies within the first 10 minutes. Like, it's not like he really advances the plot. So why not just leave
Yeah,
him dead in the second one? Like, they drug him along for way too long.
no reason. And and yeah, here's the thing, like the only plot point, the only plot like service that he does in this movie is reiterating the exact same things that we've heard in the first 2 movies is, "Oh, Blade, I'm getting old and I'm sorry that it's your life's so shitty and you're by yourself. You need friends." And because the theme of this movie is you need more people, so he gets a crew or whatever. And
Well, and I feel like this is jumping ahead, but if we're gonna have when whatever hot girl gets pissed because the lesbian chick's dead, Why didn't they have Whistler get killed by Drake? That would have been a lot more emotional because he's her dad. Like, this is
Yeah.
not hard to think of.
Yeah.
Like, we're not writers.
This is
But
why no
no.
one wanted to direct the movie. People got the script and were like, David S.
What the
Goyer, you
fuck?
fucking on drugs. What is this bullshit?
Yeah.
Yeah, and before the FBI actually raids, actually I skipped ahead. We skipped the part where Blade chases down the last, vampire, who turns out to be the familiar, and then you have meth head Evangeline Lilly perfectly stationed at the top of this one building. She's like Peter Parker, perfectly taking Spider-Man pictures. She's just sitting up there with the camera, waiting until they show up to the right exact place and records them on really good quality video if you think about it.
Oh, excellent.
And sees Blade killing the dude, and I don't know. This was really unbelievable to me. It didn't really make sense that Blade didn't know that this guy was a familiar before killing him. You would think that he's an
Yeah.
expert vampire hunter, and he doesn't he can smell and he can hear, he can see. I just it didn't really make sense.
Yeah, he got duped, and it was really dumb. Also, if the vampires were gonna do something as cunning as that, it should have been so methodical that like they had a stationary cam in that exact place, like up on a light or something.
Uh-huh.
The fact that she was 100 yards away with like a portable camera made no sense.
Or just the
Like
fact that they planned an intersection for that to happen. They knew when exactly their familiar was going to die, and they knew that Blade was going to come out and execute him in this way.
Exactly. It was so
bullshit.
methodical, but it wasn't enough to where they could have a stationary cam.
Whatever. And then, of course, they submit it to the FBI, which is how they get on this trail. The FBI, no questions, nothing. They get the video and they're like, "Oh, it's this guy Blade. This is clearly, not edited, nothing. Like, this is legit." And they go on a manhunt because someone sent them a video. You think about how many videotapes they probably receive a day, whatever.
Well, and what's so stupid is how quickly they managed to find Blade's hideout. Like, oh, that's the guy. Let's follow him home.
Yeah. Or actually, now that I think about it, since the head FBI dude was a familiar for the vampires, why did they even need to do that?
I guess to not blow their cover. Like, they don't want to just randomly be like, oh, you should look into this Blade guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, because the end game, they're mostly, I don't know if they want to take over or not, but yeah, that's the only thing I can think of is they don't want to blow their cover.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, so Whistler blows up their secret hideout, and it's whatever. They kill literally dozens of innocent FBI agents. But
so did you read the trivia where it says that Blade only kills 55 vampires, being the lowest number in all the series?
Uh-huh.
That's because he kills 103 FBI agents.
Humans, yeah.
I think Blade needs to go to jail.
Yeah, this motherfucker needs to be he needs to go on death row. And one thing I noticed, moving past this intro part, is what happened to Blade's machine gun pistols? Did you notice that he went back to the single fire semi-automatic pistol when in the second one,
because he was wasting too much money.
He ran out of bullets. I really got to cut back. But that's a big downgrade.
Yeah, so I guess that's kind of where we're at right now is going back a little bit, when he is using all of his tech and he's using those new guns and he's chasing down these vampires,
mm-hmm.
It's so unbelievable that any of them get away. He has so much weaponry. How does he not kill everyone within 5 seconds?
I don't know.
It's oh yeah, because then he'd be overpowered and the movie would be over. Well, yeah. Then don't give him those weapons. What did you think about him giving himself up to the FBI after Whistler dies and he just loses hope?
I mean, I guess if we're at this point in the story, it makes sense. He was surrounded by, 500 SWAT guys with guns pointed at his face. He wouldn't have made it. At this point already, I guess it makes sense with what we've set up. I don't like it, but whatever. We'll keep going.
Yeah, it leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah. And then we move back to the vampires, and we're first really introduced to Drake, who, played by Dominic Purcell. Ooh, interesting choice.
Drake.
Yeah, there's no accent. Like every now and then you can hear a little like hint of something. It's like Tom Hardy playing Venom. You don't know what accent he's trying to do, but it's not good. It's definitely not Transylvanian. And maybe it's just his Australian coming out a little bit. I have no idea what it is.
So, all right, you want to get into Drake?
Oh yeah, what about Drake?
I don't get it at all. First off, Dominic's probably the only person who agreed to play him, which sucks. I can't think off the top of my head like who would be better, but there's plenty of people. Like I don't remember who played the latest Dracula. There's some dude with long hair.
That was Luke Evans in the Dracula.
Oh, yeah, he's a good actor. Yeah. I feel like they should have had someone more menacing and dark.
Yeah.
Like
Willem
Dominic
Dafoe.
Purcell. Oh, yeah. he just played it like weird. Like
It's because the character has no purpose in this movie.
Yeah.
He literally has no story. Like, what is he here for?
For one, I don't know why they even had the audacity to bring him in for this third movie. Like, this should have been something that they've been hinting at for all three. I really forgot that the first one, I thought that like that's how they brought him into this, was like the blood thing, and like
that would be cool if they tied it back to La Magra, the blood god.
but no, they just pulled him out of the ground. And then so in the very beginning, when we don't know why they're bringing him, it was almost like they forgot that it was for one plot, and then Drake says something later, and it's like, wait, is that why they brought you up? Like, we don't know, because they don't know. So he says at one point that they want him because they want to all be daywalkers, which has been the plot for the past 3 movies. Right. All these vampires want is so they can be in the sun.
Right.
But then they want him to defeat Blade. Like, what do you actually want him for?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows. And at one point he says, like, you guys are like imitations of me. You're not real vampires or whatever. But then he helps them out anyways. Like, he seemed like he didn't want to at the start, but for some reason he then changes his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite parts, because it's so fucking terrible in this movie, is when Drake, he starts like, you see this kind of like really quick montage of like, modern Dracula stuff, and Drake goes to there's a vampire store with the 2 workers in the store are like the most stupidly written characters ever. Like, nobody talks like this. Like, he's like walking around the store looking at like, there's like Dracula matches, and then the girl's like, oh, you want a Dracula vibrator? And she's like, sets it down, and the dildo's like
that garlic gets me every time.
We've got just about anything, even vampire vibrators. Here, check this out.
And the guy at the counter's like, hey bro, she asked you a question. And then
that guy would not be a dick.
I know. Drake like looks at him, and the guy's like, what, you want a kiss? And he throws him out the window. It's so fucking stupid. Oh my god, it made me so mad.
Yeah, I feel like for these 2 characters that obviously idolize Dracula and like they're super goth, it would have been a lot cooler if like he shows that he's Dracula by either killing a different person like shopping in the store, and then these people are like, oh, I want to be a vampire really bad, please change me. Like they
Right.
should have been impressed by it,
Right.
but instead he just kills them both. And like
Just cause.
it would have been a lot cooler if he turned them.
Yeah.
But again, like why further the story? Why make it cool?
And even what really is, if he's this mythical first vampire, I mean, what is so special about him? It's not like you know how in the second one
Everything.
you had what's his face, the bad guy, biting these people, and they would turn into these monsters like pretty quickly. Dracula.
So that was the
does
other
nothing.
thing. Why they kind of set it up in the second movie that the split mouth thing
Mhm.
was a genetic mutation because of that old guy and then the
Right.
weird trials. But then we learn in this third movie that is it because Dracula does it?
Retcon. Who knows?
Yeah, they totally screwed their own universe. It's like, oh no, this has been a thing forever.
Yeah,
like,
whatever. Just ignore what happened before. There's rewriting. Maybe David Goyer forgot he wrote something before. I don't know. And then, of course, we get introduced to Jessica Biel's character. We call her Hot Girl because that's pretty much who she is. But she plays
Hot Girl.
Abigail. Yeah, Abigail Whistler is very hot. She got very buff for this movie. She's very toned.
You know how old she was? She was 21.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, she was young. I could tell because like
late 20s.
Well, you can really tell like she still had like a lot of like that really young like chubbiness to her, like in her face that makes her look young. Yeah. And so like when I saw her in a few scenes, I was like, damn, how old is she?
Yeah, that's crazy. But her introduction
is good for her.
So fucking stupid. She's dressed up.
You didn't like it?
No, she's dressed up like a homeless person, like the in Home Alone 2, the homeless bird lady. She looks like the homeless bird lady. She's walking with a bag of the fakest fucking groceries I've ever seen. Like the bread sticking out of the bag, plastic. The carrots or whatever sticking out of the bag. You can tell it's all plastic. Like they couldn't spend the extra $10 to get real fucking groceries, like. And so she's like walking down the subway, getting catcalled by these skateboarding vampires because vampires are cool and hip. And then she's holding a fake baby that is filled with garlic spray. Has like "fuck you" written on the baby or something. So she lets two of the vampire thugs take the baby. She lets another two knock her down to the ground, waits, gets beat up, and waits 5 minutes for the two vampires holding the baby to unravel the baby to discover it's fake. Like they were staring at that. They were like ruffling around with it for 5 fucking minutes. And when they finally get it out, they're like, oh, what's this? They get sprayed with garlic. That's then her cue to stop getting beat up, jump up and start kicking the other vampires. And then she pulls out this fucking stupid ass Halo laser sword backwards bow thing. It's like the most impractical, dumb weapon I've ever seen in my entire life. It's literally a bow with a laser beam on the other side where the string would be.
It doesn't make a lot of sense because like for one, that's way too bulky. And for two, like what other practicalness does it have other than like oddly cutting? Like obviously it would be a lot cooler if it was a real bow, but like laser form and she could shoot like something, UV ray or something.
Like that. Like why include
or just have an actual UV like sword.
It could be used as a cheese cutter.
I don't know.
It's like
she's the bow and arrow girl, so of course it has to look like a bow.
Yeah, but it's backwards. Like I don't understand. And like
I don't know why it's not worked into her real bow.
No reason. There is no reason.
Whatever.
To sell toys. To sell toys, that's why.
That's true. I didn't hate this scene, but obviously it could have been a lot better. Like I think it should have been almost a whole den of vampires, not just 4 guys. And also it's crazy to me that they didn't include Ryan Reynolds. And because like we heard his voiceover in the beginning, but we still don't see him for like
Yeah.
another couple scenes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know why she let herself get beat up. She probably has internal bleeding.
Yeah.
She could have taken these vampires out in 2 seconds.
But she had to go through this whole shebang, like this whole thing. Like, who knows?
Yeah, it all these scenes come down to the crappy writing
Yeah.
because they had good promise, but then they executed poorly.
I don't even think I wouldn't even say promise, because just from the start, like if you look at the general story of this,
Mhm.
it's so far detracted from Blade 1 and 2.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know.
So where are we even at in the movie? Let's see.
So here
Blade just got
Blade
captured.
he's captured by the FBI, so they take him in, and of course there's like this psychiatrist guy who's actually a familiar. He injects Blade with something to take away his powers. And then this is where, Lucifer, Meth Head, Evangeline Lilly, and Triple H bust into the room, and they're like, instead of killing Blade, which is supposedly their overall goal, they sit there and talk to him and taunt him for however many minutes it takes Deadpool to bust in the room, kill one goon, and none other. He had the surprise. He had the jump um in this. He like busted in this room, caught them off guard, but only killed the goon. Didn't kill any of the three main vampires because Deadpool sucks fucking ass. And then yeah, they get Blade out. We get this, I guess, kind of cool but pretty lame fight scene in the hallways of Deadpool, Hot Girl, fighting off a bunch of FBI agents. Again, killing a lot of FBI agents, because I guess that's just the thing now. You're just supposed to kill people for no reason. And do you remember Jessica Biel's character does this they have this stupid piece of dialogue. They're like hiding behind a corner, and Deadpool's like, "Oh, I can't shoot around corners." And she's like, "Oh,
Oh my
but
god.
I can." She pulls her bow out, steps outside into the line of sight of all these FBI, SWAT,
Uh-huh.
shoots her bow, and her bow tip bounces off something and curves and then hits the FBI agents. Like, oh my god, it just it killed me.
So
Uh,
I'll say I am all for the cool bow stuff in movies, but it didn't work in this one.
yeah.
Like obviously bows are cool. We love it when they put all these cool gadgets. I love the arrow that somehow drilled into the wall and went through the other side.
Yeah, I guess.
But it was just like, what are we doing here? Like
the cool thing to come out of this scene was we got to see Triple H had grills. His fangs were grills.
why did they have grills?
I don't know. This movie's so bad. But of course, Hannibal King, Deadpool, he sucks at fighting. He literally gets his ass beaten every scene he's in. Why is he in this movie? Why is he part of this squad, this Night Stalkers team? He sucks fucking dick.
Hold on. I don't think that was Lucifer. I'm on Mark Pellegrino's IMDb, and he was not in Blade.
Okay, he was someone.
He looks a lot like him.
No, it's totally someone from Supernatural. I thought it was Lucifer. All right, hold up, fam. We gotta figure this out. It's definitely.
It's been bugging me.
Oh, I know who he is. He's not Lucifer. He was from the Wendigo episode.
Which one? Which character though?
Callum Keith Rennie, I think that's him. Yeah, he played the guy hunting the Wendigo.
Oh.
He looks a lot like the guy who plays Lucifer, though, right?
All right, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I knew. Okay, I knew he was from Supernatural. I forgot what it was, but yeah, he played like the second episode of Supernatural when they go hunt the Wendigo. He's like the guide, the hunter, or whatever.
Gotcha.
So sorry, fans. Don't chastise us. Don't burn us down because of that. We fixed it.
Yeah, all right, I cleared it up before we concluded this episode.
And then, so of course, they all escape the FBI building very easily. They just decide to walk out the front fucking door. And then there's, of course, they're walking out the front door. So there's a bunch of squad cars pulling up, pointing guns at them, telling them, don't move, we'll shoot you. But somehow they allow this dude driving a shitty beat up SUV to come out from the side, pull up at the front door, let everybody pile in, and nobody gets shot, and they just
would have been so dead.
It makes no sense.
They had at least 10 to 20 cops sitting there. They would have been shot so quick.
But I guess they're just all twiddling their thumbs. They're just finger popping each other's assholes.
Even if they didn't shoot the people, they would have shot the tires out, the engine. Like that truck would have been destroyed.
No, they made it through superpowers. It's a comic book movie, right?
So now we get to see the super secret hideout of the the Night Stalkers.
The Night Stalkers. And the only hopes I had for this movie was seeing Patton Oswalt. I was like, please, I hope he has a good role. Please give him very comedic, give him a big role. He has 6 lines. He's wearing a Fantastic Four shirt, which is cool. I like that.
They did a disservice to Patton.
I know. And oh my God, there's one exchange between him and Ryan Reynolds where Ryan Reynolds says, like, have you ever been laid before? And he was like, yes,
where was the timing in that?
Many times with women.
With women.
I was like, okay, Patton Oswalt, you did good with what you were given there, but why? Who the fuck writes this? Like,
one of my biggest irks in this was the comedy because none of it fit. The timing was way off. Like when Ryan Reynolds says that, I was literally caught off guard because I was like, who was talking to you? Like that was out of nowhere. Like, are you a bully?
Yeah.
This guy creates guns for you and weaponry and you make fun of him? Like, what the hell?
He's gonna make your fucking gun explode on itself next time. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah, he's gonna give you blanks.
Yeah. There's this other really stupid line where I think Hot Girl reveals that she's Whistler's daughter or something, and she's like telling the story because I think Blade thought that Whistler's family all died, but she was like, I was born later out of wedlock. And I was like,
God.
Who's writing this? Like,
wedlock?
What is this?
Well, and then let's also talk about when they're escaping from the FBI and Deadpool very I can't think of the word, but like he just like blatantly calls out, he's like, Whistler! And then Blade's like,
yep. Plot twist.
Yeah.
And
but yeah, so back at the super secret hideout,
we see Ryan Reynolds shows that he has a tattoo on his pubes, which he must have said the only way I'm going to be in your movie, your shitty ass fucking movie, David S. Goyer, is if I get to be shirtless for 90% of it and I get to show my pubes 18 times. So yeah, we literally see fucking pubes surrounding this tattoo. It's like you could have shaved or something, bro.
The only thing that would have made this better is if Patton Oswalt came up and when he's introducing all of his weaponry, he's like, and we also have this new invention. It's called the Manscaped. Promo code Blade.
Promo code Ryan Reynolds.
Hey Kingston, I think you could use this. Or whatever the fuck his name is.
And so yeah, we meet this squad, and then it cuts back to the vampire squad, and Drake's talking to the vampires about whatever. And then you said you like Triple H in this movie. I wanted him gone to the fucking next galaxy. His acting was so damn bad, and he's like this big hulking thing that like shuffles around because he can't turn, and the amount of
I thought
him and Ryan Reynolds use in this movie, I'm surprised it's not one of the highest counts like Wolf of Wall Street, because there's one part like they pretty much fucking ass raped us. Like someone said, oh, they caught us with our pants down. And he's like, they didn't catch us with our pants down. They pretty much fucking ass raped us. And I was like, what is this dialogue?
Okay, here's the reason why he was the best part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one who was having fun and played his character like he should. Like he played it dumb and he was having fun. And he's the only thing that like made sense to be stupid. Like he's the only one who should have a pass on that because he's a WWE character. All he's doing is being stupid, funny, and like brooding. The other characters were like trying to be something that they're not or shouldn't be there at all, like Ryan Reynolds' character.
Yeah, I guess.
So
But then it makes me question, like, did David Goyer write this role for him? Or was it like after the fact, like, oh shit, I wrote this dumb fucking idiot of a character. I need to put a dumb fucking idiot in this role. Like, who do I pick? Let's go to the WWE roster where everyone's concussed all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that like either he should have been killed off early or he should have had even more dialogue in of a role.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you could definitely tell that they wanted to keep him in like in the second half of it. Like it was a last minute decision.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree that it didn't make sense to the movie. I just enjoyed him. I think either you put him and Ryan in their own movie, like they fit together in Deadpool, or you change the entire theme to this movie to be more fitting to them.
It was just
so it didn't make sense, but it was fun.
I guess. Oh, whatever. Yeah, so then we get this really shitty montage, more exposition of Ryan Reynolds telling us, you know, all about Dracula, all about Drake. He was born in ancient Sumeria, but he has no ancient Sumerian accent. He speaks perfect English. He whatever, and then he says they got one little chip of his armor. With that, they can extrapolate what he looks like and all of his abilities.
That was insane.
Like,
are you kidding me?
Is that
no?
all
And they even came up with a full picture of what he would look like
from that one little chip of armor.
One piece
of armor.
We didn't even get a scene of Drake learning English, him getting caught up on like the new times, other than the Gothic store.
Yeah, and I guess he can morph into different people too. I guess that's and then of Dracula.
Let's talk about the third doctor that we get, who somehow is the master of medicine and figuring out cures and all this stuff.
American Pie lesbian chick.
Yeah.
The blind American Pie lesbian chick. Like, why is she blind? First off, what does that add to the role?
Well, it adds some stupidity when when Drake sneaks in and she's the one that's on security detail. Why the hell is she on the cameras? You all deserve to die.
She's got the sniper. She's on watch. She doesn't see anything.
Yeah, it made no sense at all. And especially how they're like, yeah, we've been working on this cure and we need Drake's blood. Like, so you were counting on them digging up Drake? Is that what this is?
I guess. I don't know if they wanted them to, they knew they were going to or something. I don't know.
And then we introduce her daughter, and it's like immediately when you see her, you think, oh, so that's going to get used against them at some point. And
yeah,
Drake even points it out. He's like, your one weakness is humans, and I'm going to use that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're referring to that scene where
he's holding the baby.
Yeah, where fucking the trio, Blade, Hawkgirl, and Deadpool, they go to hunt down I think it was a psychiatrist familiar to get information or whatever. I don't know what the hell they were doing there, but show up there. Turns out Drake killed him, and they find Drake, and Blade goes off on this chase, with Drake, and for some reason Drake stops to pick up a baby, and they both stand on this rooftop, and Drake pulls a Batman. He throws the baby in the air, and Blade catches it, and then he's gone, and is so out of place.
I don't get the entire lore of Dracula because I thought that they had mentioned that he could fly, but Ryan Reynolds said that he said something like, "Oh, he probably can't turn into like vapor, but he definitely can do something else." And it just didn't make sense why he was running from Blade. Like, I feel like he would have been able to like definitely fly for one, because almost all the lore.
Blade because he's the first fucking like strongest vampire mythical being.
This would have been a really good spot for him to overpower Blade and like almost kill Blade, like he's near death, and leaves him for dead. And then we have Blade having to come back stronger. Like he either has to do some kind of training montage or something, and come
like,
back
maybe
something
like,
of value.
Maybe drink human blood or something to something deep.
Well, and so right before this, when we get to the super secret base, they pull out all their weaponry and they're showing off their tech for no reason at all.
Oh, they're shitty plastic looking made in China guns. Oh my god.
Yeah. So cut that, have him almost die, and then they bring him back and they force him to drink blood. And then we show off all this weaponry that he has to equip for the third act.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Make him somehow tie this into that vampire toxin or whatever. He has to drink blood, but then they warn him like, once you drink blood, you're going to be, a full vampire or whatever. And then this toxin will definitely kill you, and then end it like that. Like, oh, it comes full circle. Like, oh, I have to make this sacrifice.
Or what if he gets bit by Dracula, and because he's the OG, that like superpowers Blade later because it mutates him.
Something like that. What?
There's a few different directions we could go with this.
Yeah, WB or not WB, sorry, Marvel, come at us. Send us your millions.
We'll writers.
We'll write for you.
Send me $10. I'll write some. Not even a million.
I made a note here. I actually didn't. It didn't click in my head that this came out before Prison Break, because I think Prison Break season 1 was like 2005 or 2006 or something maybe.
Oh boy.
Is that right? But I made a note that I said Lincoln Burrows still can't find a shirt that isn't a deep V, because in that series he always has the open shirt or a fucking deep V, and he just, maybe that's his character. That's like in his contract. Like, no, I'm not gonna wear a full shirt.
I made a note of who's the person who plays Sabretooth in the Wolverine movie?
So there's two different actors. It was Tyler Mane was in X-Men 1 and 2, and then later it was Liev Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber. Okay, so Dominic Purcell is the Wish app version of Liev Schreiber.
I know he's not a good actor.
He looks just like him, but his acting is very subpar.
Right, and he also has this like, kind of has this build where you'd think he'd be super buff, but he's really not.
He's actually pretty small.
Yeah, but like he's small, but he's like thicker. I don't know if it's just his big bald head or something, but he just looks like he'd be a lot more thick and muscular, but he's really not.
Well, and when you put him next to Blade and Triple H, like all these guys who are way taller than him and way bigger, even Ryan Reynolds is bigger than him in this because he put on all that weight. Yeah, it didn't make sense.
And that scene where Blade chases after Drake and Drake throws the baby. When Blade catches the baby, he like looks down at it and he goes "Kuchiku," and I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Now we're gonna have Blade be comedic. Is that what we're doing?
I don't know. Of course, we get a shower scene with Jessica Biel, probably in her contract. Like, oh yeah, you got to give me a shower scene.
Poor girl.
Yeah.
I feel like it was unnecessary, and it really screwed her for the rest of her acting career. Because like who knows when like a woman wants to reveal her body, or like, you know, like it's a lot more sacred nowadays of like either they do it to like empower themselves or whatever.
Mhm.
But like this is probably very, very early in her acting career, and to have that like be written into her contract kind of just sucks for her.
Hey, she signed on for it.
Yeah.
She didn't have to. Maybe she wanted it. Maybe she's like, I want to show. I got buff for this movie. I want to show my curves.
Oh god. I don't know why
Um,
there wasn't a training scene for all three of them, like her lifting weights or like him lifting weights. Like we need more weightlifting scenes. Let's go to the gym as a group.
they do have that later suiting up montage towards the end of the movie where she's like shooting her bow faster and faster or something. But then I read
I
like some trivia about that, and it's like that type of bow, it only shoots at one speed. Like you
I
can't shoot faster.
called that out as soon as I saw it. I made a note of
Mhm,
how that would literally not happen because those have a specific poundage.
mhm.
So like, and her form was pretty spot on like every time.
Yeah, I feel like she actually did the training for it. So,
So it would have gone up by like ±5, but there's
uh-huh.
no way in hell it would have gone up by like 50.
Yeah, doesn't make any
So yeah,
sense.
that was really dumb.
But another thing that I caught that was really didn't really make any sense is early in the movie,
The whole movie.
the whole
Oh.
entire thing. Early in the movie, before Whistler dies, he like has this exposition dialogue with Blade, where it's like repeating everything from the first two movies, like, oh, we we kill vampires and it leaves no trace because they turn to ash or whatever. But then
Oh
it
god.
had me starting to think, does it really leave no trace? Because I didn't really pay attention to the first two movies about this, but in this one I really started to notice it.
It for
Whenever
sure leaves a trace.
Yeah,
There's
whenever they kill a
skulls.
vampire, bones fly everywhere. So there's just like piles and piles and piles of bones all over the city, and supposedly it leaves no trace.
Well, and like it might turn into ash like at the slightest touch,
Mhm.
but you would think after thousands of these things being found dead, like they'd find a way to pick one up like very carefully or like preserve one.
Mhm.
So yeah, that did not make sense. Um,
And
one
then,
thing,
yeah, go ahead.
one line that I did love, but again, it was kind of out of place, was when um, they're messing with that familiar and Blade's like, kill you, motherfucker, I'll kill you.
I wrote that down too. Yeah, they Blade and Hawk Girl, they show up. They somehow find this like blood factory where I guess the vampires were keeping a host of. They've just been rounding up all the homeless people and solving the homeless
Okay,
problem.
yeah, did you write down that that's pretty smart? I was like, I mean, it, I don't, I don't
They're
want to
putting
say I
them to good
agree with it,
use, but
but
it's just like in you remember did you watch Venom?
yeah,
So you know how Riz Ahmed's character in Venom, he's just like rounding up the homeless people and like testing on the homeless people. Like, it's the exact same thing. They're like using all the homeless people for blood banks, and so Blade asks the familiar something. I don't even remember. Like where's Drake or some shit. Doesn't matter. And
I
then
thought, I don't remember what's the name of that vampire movie where it's like futuristic and they end up getting a cure?
Daybreakers.
Was it in Daybreakers that people would actually volunteer and get paid like to their families to be like in blood banks? Because I thought there was a movie
Hmm. That
where
actually
like
I don't remember.
I feel like there's one where there's like a volunteer program where like you get paid or your family gets paid in order to have you be a
I
sacrifice.
don't think that was Daybreakers because in Daybreakers the humans were the minority,
Hmm.
like they were being hunted. Um,
Well, that still would have been a better choice then.
yeah, but hey, they I guess in that world they don't have a homeless problem.
That's right.
Um,
Well, except for Hot Girl, she's homeless.
yeah, yeah. So the guy is like, oh, I can't tell you anything. The vampires will kill me or whatever. And Blade's like, kill you? Motherfucker, I'll kill you. I'll just enjoy it better. That was the only real one-liner in this movie that, it was all right. It was good. Not as good as the previous ones, but
I'm kind of surprised that they didn't kill the tech who was sitting there, the girl who was like, because like she's not innocent. She knows what she's getting paid for.
It doesn't make sense because Blade, we see that he has no honor because he tells the guy to run off and he's like, I'll give you 20 seconds. And then he counts to 2 and then shoots him in the back. Maybe they just didn't show us, maybe it was a deleted scene of them killing that tech, but she probably died. And the best part about that entire scene was Blade goes up to the tech and he's like, what's the shutdown password? Like, is that a thing? Is that a computer program thing?
There's no way in hell.
Shutdown password?
Well, and wasn't it like password or something?
It was
stupid?
Harvest. Like, oh my god. Like,
if
was
we're gonna be
drunk when writing this script?
If we're gonna be comedic, that would have been a good point for it to be either Blade or Dracula be the password.
Or not have a fucking shutdown password. That's not how it works. I don't know. Then Drake sneaks into the Night Stalker base. He's disguised as Whistler. And I bet Chris Christopherson loved this because they had him wear like a fancy suit. And he's like,
I get paid more.
Get to walk in like James Bond and strut my stuff and let my hair down. Hey, lay down. Lay down.
I guarantee you he was getting with David Esquire and he was like, hey, so I know you said you were only going to pay me for 2 days of shooting, but I see a third and fourth day on here. That's not actually Dominic Purcell. That's me. I get paid for that.
I'll suck your dick. So he busts into the base and he, kills all the stupid whatever Night Stalker people, and we have this. If it was competently directed, could have been like a scary scene of Drake killing, the American Pie chick.
Well, I wonder if they had some scenes and they ran out of time and couldn't use it, because it did suck that Patton Oswalt got killed off screen. Like I felt that was kind of shitty to him.
Yeah.
Like he already got screwed in this movie by having no good lines or good character performances. And so then he gets screwed over by getting killed off screen.
Maybe he was just happy to be in a comic book movie. I don't know.
The other thing I thought would have been really cool is if I thought he was going to turn the blind lady, and then it would have been cool if like that brought back her vision and she could see.
Right. But I guess in this movie, turning people into vampires isn't a thing. They just...
Yeah, I don't think he turned anyone. Which makes no sense.
What is so cool about this guy? Like, nothing.
And yeah, it would have been like they set up that it was going to be crazy because they were going to turn Ryan Reynolds back and then he would eventually eat the daughter. Mm-hmm. Why not turn the mother, and the mother ends up having to eat her daughter later?
Who knows?
Again, writing a movie seems to be a lot easier than you give them credit.
Yeah, and for some reason, like not explained at all, he lets Ryan Reynolds live and they capture him.
I don't get why, whatever the hell that chick's name is.
Meth Lily is what we call her.
Meth Lily. Why did she not come with him? It didn't make sense why Drake would capture him without her being there. Like, she should have been there to be like, no, leave him. I want to take him. Or like, we don't see
him. Like, I guess he answers to them now. Like, she told him, hey, don't kill Deadpool. I need him.
No, like, without her saying that or her being there, he would just kill him.
Yeah.
So that was one of many dumb scenes.
I guess they capture him so that Ryan Reynolds can have his shirtless scene for the rest of the fucking movie.
All right, you want to get into the shirtless scene? You got to give respect's due.
He just... I hate him. You had to take 5 minutes here. You had to pause to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Good Lord.
He's
I
just
just
really
think it was
skinny.
well, I mean, it says that he put on 25 pounds of muscle,
Well, that's
and
easy when you weigh 75 pounds.
but it just doesn't make sense. And I don't think even X-Men Origins didn't come out for like another 10 years or 5 years. So like him putting on all this weight made no sense at all. And to get into his character, I I love Ryan Reynolds in movies. He's very comedic. I know you don't like him, but he's good for comedy, and he plays Deadpool well. He did not fit into this movie at all. There, that was one of the reasons why this movie failed, was because all of the characters did not mesh with each other, and part of that being because Wesley Snipes is being a dick. But they need to stop trying to be in the middle of things. Like either go hard left or go hard right. Like this is either a comedy or a dark movie.
Yeah.
And putting Ryan
why
in,
they tried to make it comedic.
yeah, like
But it wasn't even funny though. That's the thing. Like it was literally. I've been making the joke calling him Deadpool for this entire review is because the jokes he was making and the stuff he was saying was literally Deadpool. Like, oh, yeah, he like in the next part when he's being tortured or whatever, he talks about Triple H's dick. It's like,
tell me that wasn't your favorite line.
Yeah, no, Triple H's response. And when the fuck did you see my
when
dick?
did you see my
face?
dick? That killed me.
Why is this in here?
I don't know how we've given Ryan Reynolds a pass for so long, because he's had this flop, he's had Green Lantern. Like, at what point do we stop letting him act until somehow he gets around to doing
Please,
Deadpool?
dear God, soon.
I don't know.
They play this Blade and Hawk Girl are back at the base, and they find this video made by the blind girl. It's one of those stupid fucking "if you're watching this, I'm already dead" videos.
Oh God,
that's one of the worst lines ever to be used in any movie. Like, please, why do movies use this? It's so dumb. And she explains that she, just in the nick of time, figured out this plague arrow. And here's the kicker. This plague arrow tip can be shot from either a 4-barrel rifle or a bow. Take your pick.
I wonder which one we're going to go with.
We live in a magical world. I guess that's just how things work.
Oh, and let me guess, you could only make one of them.
Yep, just one. Just the one. And then they have the suit up scene, and while Blade's like cleaning his sword and stuff, and he's putting his he puts his little dagger things in his side. Do you notice how they look like butt plugs? His little daggers. And while he's doing all that, cocking his gun and whatever, all we get of Jessica Biel is a close-up of her belly button. It's like pulling up her pants and then a belly button shot.
And we don't even get to see her arming like any special arrows like we've seen.
No.
We've seen a couple different arrow people do this, but like you'll see them like pull out their case and they're like, oh, here's the punching bag one. I got to arm that one. I got to do this.
It would make sense if they did that, but no.
You'd think.
Yes, no. But they do grab the fucking laser bow sword again. That they used once. I don't know.
Right before this, I feel like there was a scene that. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So when she's holding the blind girl from American Pie, and she's crying over it, and then Blade does his stupid, use it, use it.
What is this?
If he was so close, if he would have said use it one more time, I would have lost my shit. I think he cut himself off at 3, but a fourth use it.
What is he getting at here? He says use it, and she goes, ah! Oh God, so
like
stupid.
Why there would have been really no relation between these two characters. Like, yeah, she would have been a little bit sad, but like it's not like they were related, or I don't know, like we talked about earlier, it being Whistler.
Yeah. But
Whatever.
also, since you mentioned that, like, Blade is no longer sad about Whistler dying, like, you would think that that would have left an imprint over the rest of the movie, but no, it
Oh
doesn't.
yeah.
Because,
Mm.
you know, just like the first movie, they're probably going to retcon it in the next one, and he's not actually dead.
So going forward again.
Now they're at the
How do you feel?
the tech
How do you
startup.
feel about these dogs?
Oh, when I first watched this, I was like, okay, this had to have been around the time Resident Evil came out because they clearly stole this idea from Resident Evil. And sure enough, the first Resident Evil came out in 2002. And
Ooh,
I was like, they try to jack it, but the CGI looks fucking terrible.
get sued.
It looks real bad. And Jessica Biel's character shoots out all the lights in this building for
what was with the lights?
There's no reason whatsoever.
She's not a vampire. She can't see.
I know. She's got to like use the night vision goggles, and the vampire's like,
it would have been funny if she shot it out and then she was like, oh fuck, I can't see shit.
And
I did love though when, okay, for one thing though, so when Ryan Reynolds is getting chased by the dogs, did they not give him any weapons? Because he gets let free and then he meets these dogs and he's like, oh shit, what do I do?
No, she gave him his gear.
So why didn't he shoot them?
Because he sucks.
Well, then it was pretty funny though when they fall off the building and some innocent person probably hits them with the car and you hear them scream down there because they're like, oh, I just hit a dog.
And then the dog comes alive and eats them.
Yeah, probably. I would have loved to see that.
But
then it was pretty great seeing Ryan Reynolds fall through the door because he's a jackass.
It's okay. So he gets set free from this room, runs away from the dogs. Somehow he ends up back above the same room, and then trips and falls back into the room.
That's what breaks his gun, I guess.
Yeah, because then he then has to WWE wrestle Triple H. And
yeah, which the only reason why they did that is because it's Triple H.
Yeah, I mean, he literally does like a suplex thing, just like in the last part of Blade 2 when Blade in front of Ron Perlman does the suplex move. They do the exact same
again though. I did love when he breaks his arm and he's like, "You broke my arm," and then he just snaps it back into place. And Ryan Reynolds was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
So stupid.
Again, great scene, not for this movie. Different movie.
It's like draining talking about this movie.
All right, let's jump ahead.
Drake and Blade are having their last showdown, but for some reason,
where have we seen this before?
Every fucking movie. Drake puts on this weird like wicker basket armor shirt and then pulls out a sword. So they have a sword fight.
No one understands the way of the sword, not like me and you.
Nope. And then he says, "Blade, ready to die?" What if he said no?
Yeah. Oh shit, I didn't think about that.
So they have their sword fight, and you know they're pretty equal. But then Blade starts whooping his ass, and then this is like the boss fight in the video game where you just fight the first form of the boss, and then Drake decides to, oh wait, I remember I have a second form. So then he morphs into the monster mode, and he gets instantly stronger. His health regenerates, and
this reminds me of X-Men. Whatever the newer one is, where Mystique isn't as powerful when she's concentrating on being a human.
Oh yeah. It's
so
fucking
stupid.
Let's see. Jessica Biel, she shoots the arrow to try to hit Drake, and then Drake catches it. He throws it on the ground, but the vial doesn't shatter.
And then, a second arrow. I guess I can't catch that one. Because like we've just learned, after she's been shooting for a while, the FPS gets stronger. So that one he wouldn't have been able to block.
It's way stronger. And then Blade takes the vial and then stabs Drake in it. And then
Jesus Christ.
Whatever science is behind this, the serum mixes in with Drake's blood, then it becomes airborne and goes to all the vampires in the entire world, and they all die. And yep, that's that. And of course,
and
Drake,
it doesn't kill him. It just
No.
turns him back to a human.
yeah. And then him and Blade are there lying next to each other, and Drake
How do
says
they-
something about
How do they get him to transform into Blade? Does anyone want to answer that?
he not dead. But he says like, "Oh, the vampires will never be dead because the future of our race lies with you," as if that's supposed to
stupid.
mean something powerful or whatever. And I don't know if you noticed, but the CGI right there of the background, the skyline, was fucking atrocious. It was so bad that they
Well-
must have spent all of their money elsewhere, and they're like, "Oh fuck, we gotta hire a kid in film school to do this for us."
They do this in every single one. The third act, and then like right as the movie's about to end, they
The
run out of
CGI is
all their
so
money.
bad.
He's like, "No, I'm not doing this for free. I'm going home."
Yeah. And then the
God.
movie ends with another Ryan Reynolds outro. He says, "Blade's still out there fighting the war, and everyone knows the war never ends."
Did you see the after credits scene?
No, I didn't. I didn't know that was a thing. What was it?
It's in the trivia. It's literally him driving a car. So it's about
Blade?
4 seconds. Yeah, 4 seconds long, and at the very end. So you had to wait like the entire credits just to like he's not even in Moscow. He's just driving.
Yeah, I made a note. I said, so if Blade lives to fight vampires, but they're suddenly all dead, what does he do now? Like, doesn't he just retire and go to like Cabo or something? Maybe he's driving to Cabo.
Well, no, I could never see you teaching karate at the Y.
God, so bad. And
All right.
the song at the start of the credits is called "Fatal" by RZA. It was so fucking terrible.
By Lizzo?
Might as well be. I'm gonna when I edit this, I'm gonna play that song at the end here for our outro, and it was so bad.
They were only a couple years from being able to use Nickelback.
That actually makes me think of
And Spider-Man.
yeah, in I've been listening to the Kind of Funny reviews, Amazing Spider-Man ones, and they're talking about how they use like the Philip Phillips song, like "For You," and
Oh boy.
talking about Nickelback, like fucking Chad Kroger.
right,
Look
what
at
else?
his photograph.
What other random things stuck out to you, or what else do you want to dig into this before we get into our the nitty-gritty?
This is just, it was so disappointing for me. I really liked the first one. The second one, I thought I was gonna like more. It wasn't as good as I remembered, but it was okay. It was an okay watch. A little too long, but this one, I haven't seen this one in years, and I remember not
God.
liking it from the start, but I didn't possibly think it could be this bad.
No, I had
mentioned
no
to
idea.
you recently that Dark Phoenix was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Huh.
I don't know which one is worse. I want to say this one is worse than Dark Phoenix, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
So,
I always remember loving it a lot more.
Mm.
And what I feel like that is because it was definitely made for its time era. Because like back in 2004 or 5, whatever, this would definitely have been a lot cooler back then. Because like the tech, the fighting, all that stuff was a lot cooler.
Mm.
And it's definitely one of those things where like now that we see how good films really can be,
now that we've actually seen good movies,
you kind of give it a lot more of a harsh eye. But even with that, like if you go back and watch all 3 of these movies in a trilogy like we just did, that'll really skewer your thoughts on this film.
yeah. It's just a completely different tone of movie.
Ugh.
Like, gone are the themes of like horror and like, you know, gritty violence. Like, remember the intro of the first one where the opening scene was raining blood at this vampire club? Like, none of that exists in this movie. There's not even like an inkling, no trace of that in this movie.
Yeah, they definitely sold out. They wanted to sell action figures, and they wanted to make a big box office break, which in turn screwed them because they flopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't stay true to their own.
So wrapping it up, why don't you give your overall final impressions of the movie, your score, and actually, I was thinking for this one we could do something new. We could so give it your overall score out of 10, and then how would you rate it as a comic book movie versus just a movie?
Well, before I get into that, the last thing I want to get into is I hate how like fuck, I'm at a loss for words today. We never see Blade being either super powerful or super weak. Like, it's so all over the place, and I don't get what the hell they're doing with him, because he wastes so much time doing his like patty cake karate that he does. Like, he literally slaps the guards.
Patty cake.
But then other moments he can kick a person 30 feet through a wall.
Yeah,
like,
it's
how powerful is he? Inconsistent. That's the word I was searching for.
There's no consistency at all.
I really want Blade to be more like Batman. Like, he's very concise with his punches. He's very powerful, but instead he's this like stupid karate master who can't even do anything. But yeah, that's where I'll leave it. That's the last thing I want to get out. So yeah, final impressions. This movie was trash.
It's an insult to the word trash, really.
Yeah, you can't even say this is a good bad movie. Like, watch it because it's so funny. Like, don't watch it. It'll ruin your day.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So
what were the worst aspects of it to you? Like, if you had to pick out a couple of things that made it so bad.
Okay, so I'll say that, and then I also want us both to mention what we liked about it, if you can pull something.
All right.
The worst aspects is that the actors had no chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
It was a ragtag bunch of people. Like, obviously they're all pretty big actors, even for their time-ish. Like, I think this is right around American Pie. Patton Oswalt's been famous since like the 90s. Mm-hmm. Everyone loves him. And then we have Wesley Snipes, who's at the peak of his acting career. Ryan Reynolds is at the beginning. And I feel like even with the group that they picked, they could have done something there if they all got along or had more time to like mesh together, figure something out, better writing. But it was like, because it sucked, they hurt for it.
Well, apparently Wesley Snipes was a dick on set and didn't interact with people, so that could have been it too.
Exactly. So it's like, a lot of it is his fault for making this movie suck, but then it also is David S. Goyer's fault. It's like a perfect storm of it being a shit show. Mm-hmm. So I hate that it ended up coming out this way, because I feel like it had a lot of potential. I feel like it could have been a lot better. Yeah, especially with the cast that they had, but they just tanked so hard.
Yep.
So that really sucks. I would love to see a couple of these actors come back in the future for Marvel movies, like Patton or even Wesley Snipes making Oswalt, a cameo.
He's doing MODOK. There's a MODOK series on Hulu. It's like an animated, like, dark comedy. You should watch the trailer for it. It actually looks really funny. So I might, when that comes out, I'll probably watch that.
And then, like I mentioned before, the two different story plot lines that they had mentioned could have been a thing, would have been way better.
Yeah. Instead of getting this nobody Drake.
Yeah, and then obviously setting up Drake through the 3 films instead of bringing him in like 2 minutes. Stupid. Gosh, what did I like about this movie?
Anything? Bueller?
Yeah. Jessica Biel and Triple H. Even then, like,
Jessica
rough.
Biel has a shower scene.
Yeah, I guess if you wanted to pull anything from this movie that's good, it's the shower scene and Ryan Reynolds shirtless. That's about it. You can't even defend that like it's got good action or like anything because it's just
because it's shot so fucking terribly.
Pound for pound garbage.
Yep, I agree. So then, how would you rate it as a comic book movie?
Ooh.
Let's say for this, let's do instead of the 1 to 10 for comic book movie, let's say.
Let's do. You got a reference from like a great comic movie to a bad? This would be at the lowest end. So.
Well, like, okay, so if you think it's a really good like interpretation of a comic book like movie to screen, you give it a, I don't know, very good score, and then goes down to moderate. No, very good, good, moderate, bad, very bad, shit.
And this is basically like adaptation from comic to screen, right? Like
like as a comic book movie.
Very bad.
Okay.
Blade 1, obviously the best. Not the best. The best for Blade, let's say that. This being the worst. I wouldn't even be able to tell that this is from a comic.
Yeah.
Like they just screwed everything. They screwed the lore, they screwed like the whole the franchise. They just did it a whole disservice.
Okay, so then what about as a movie, like not looking at it with a comic book lens? Because you know how like movies like Dark Knight, like Logan, you know, they're really good comic book movies, but then as a standalone movie, they're also really good movies. So where would you put this on the same scale?
Very bad. It couldn't hold its own. Like I said, with the actors that they chose, it could have held up, and they could have pulled something off here, even if it like didn't have anything to do with the comics. They could have done something, but they didn't. Yeah, the filming was trash. All of his directorial choices were garbage. Having Blade be a producer, and I say Blade because they said he is Blade, he's not Wesley Snipes, was horrible.
Yeah, having too much input, too much say.
Yeah.
Okay, so then overall, a 1 to 10 score, where would you put Blade Trinity?
I always do this. I always change my score after we talk it through.
Yeah.
And I just moved my 3 out of 10 to a 1 out of 10.
Ooh, woo! 1 out of 10.
The viewers know I'm usually the more generous one. Yeah. And I try to give the big boy scores. I gave it a 4 out of 10 for fighting. And then I also gave Ryan's body a 10 out of 10. So we'll give just my final scores there.
All right.
What do you got for I want to hear your overall and your as a movie, as a comic.
So as a comic book movie, I'd say it's either very bad or bad, and I would only shy away from very bad and garbage and shit because I know that at least these characters are actually characters from the comics. Like I think the Night Stalkers are an actual group. Hannibal King and Abigail Whistler, Drake, these are all characters. But I'm pretty sure these are like bastardized versions. They're not anything representative of what they're supposed to be in the comics. And also there is one point where Blade, I forget who he's showing. I think he's showing the comic to Deadpool or something, but he has the like Dracula comic. Do you remember that?
Mhm.
And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's the first issue where Blade was introduced into Marvel Comics, which I think was, I know, I thought if that's what it is, maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. If that's what it is, I think it's cool. Like that's a really cool comic book nod.
Mhm.
It's like in Logan when Logan references the comics.
Yeah.
It's like none of this shit happened this way. Like I like stuff like that. It's a good way of putting you in that world without making it too cheesy. Um,
Mhm.
so I in between utter trash and bad. Then
Yeah. The problem is that was the only snippet of like, oh, this is from a comic book
yeah,
that we get.
I felt like David S. Goyer thought he was really smart and was trying to do something
Reinventing the wheel.
elevated or something. So then as a movie, a standalone movie, negative score. Very, very, very bad. Very bad. You can't watch it as a standalone movie. I mean, I guess there's a lot of exposition in it that if you weren't to watch the first two, you would still get some of it, but you'd get no
I
characterization
would
of
say
Blade whatsoever.
if you want to watch this movie, watch it as a sequel to Deadpool. If you're a fan of Deadpool.
Or a prequel.
And yeah, and just black out the fact that it's a Blade movie.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like it's Ryan's film. It's not even Wesley Snipes' film.
I'm sure there's someone on the internet who has taken the time to edit this movie and make it a prequel to Deadpool, like edit out all the Blade parts.
As you can with all of Ryan's films, except
Yeah.
for maybe some of his rom-coms.
Even those.
How did you feel about the fighting?
I couldn't tell because I couldn't see it. The cutting was so bad. Like, I don't know if the directing of this movie is worse or the editing, but
Do you feel the same about his inconsistency?
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't fight the same way. Half the time you couldn't tell how he was fighting because you couldn't see it. That's the problem. Like you
You
couldn't
just hear slapping noises off the screen. Like
yeah. There was actually, I lied. There was one scene in the movie, I forgot where it was, where for a moment there was a wide angle shot of him fighting like 2 or 3 different guys, and you could actually see what was going on, but then instantly, cut away from that. So the action was, it could have been good, could have been bad. I don't know. I didn't get to see it. It was just cut away.
That's the common phrase for this movie. Could have.
Yeah. And another thing is the cinematography was also very bad, even though it was done by the same guy who did number 2. I thought number 2 looked good. If anything, stories, whatever, but it looked good. And this one did not look good at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like I couldn't tell it was by the same cinematographer because it looked really shitty. Like everything was almost like too bright, which was another reason why I felt like this was so far detracted from the first 2 movies. Was this one was really bright, and this is kind of a dark character, vampires, like blood.
That's
like,
racist.
Shut up. Yeah, they're trying to whitewash this movie. Yeah, it's just not good. So overall for the movie, with the terrible directing, David S. Goyer, please don't direct anymore. Please don't. Terrible editing, terrible writing, god awful writing, terrible cinematography. Ryan Reynolds. I give this movie.
We going negative?
I'm trying to think if there's any redeeming qualities.
Wait, did you say anything that you liked about this?
No.
You better dig deep.
Patton Oswalt.
There you go.
For the 60 seconds he's in this movie, I like seeing him on screen. He's such a fun.
He's a lovable guy.
I know.
All right, there you go.
Is there anything I like? It's got to be one thing. Vampire dildo, vampire vibrator.
I liked his cool car, even though that was the only time we saw it.
I mean, you barely even see it.
I know.
Wait, is it the same car from the beginning, or is it a different one?
I think so.
Okay.
And he jumps it out of a semi truck, which.
I'm gonna go with you and give it a 1 out of 10.
All right, we'll stay in the positives.
Yeah, and that one score is only because Patton Oswalt's in it. There's no other reason.
That just shows how much he can do for a film.
Yeah.
He kept this movie from going negative.
So then, okay, would you, another new category, would you recommend this movie to fans of Blade? Yes or no?
Fans of Blade or fans of Marvel? Or
So
both?
we'll do it all. Let's start with Blade. Blade the character.
No, I'd say watch number 1, watch number 2 if you're brave enough. And
you
even
got the
that's
time.
like don't watch this one if you have any hope of wanting to still love the character.
Yep. You will not get your 2 hours back ever.
No.
I agree with that one. I would not recommend this to a fan of Blade.
Do not watch it.
So then what about like a Marvel lover movie completionist?
If quarantine continues for another year and you have that much time, watch it.
Yeah, and if you have HBO Max, do not pay for this trash. Do not.
No.
Rent. Do not buy. Do not.
Boy, am I glad that this is on HBO.
I know we wouldn't have finished this trilogy if it wasn't on HBO Max.
Or we would have, and you would have been really pissed the next day.
I'd ask for my money back.
Brandon, you better pay for this whole thing.
I full-heartedly agree. I don't care who you are, Marvel lover. You have to watch every Marvel movie there is. Skip this one. It doesn't feel like any type of comic book movie. It doesn't feel like a Marvel. It's nothing.
Well, what's funny is I saw on Facebook the other day, there was a post saying like 10 or 20 years ago today, Blade was released, paving the way for Marvel. Because I guess the money that they made with that saved their company.
Yeah, I mean, I see it. This was the very start of it, so.
But let's just not talk about Blade 3.
Yeah, I think any articles saying like, "Oh, Blade kicked off the Marvel craze" or whatever, they're negating Blade 3. They just it didn't exist.
The only reason why I would go back and watch this again, and I might just lie and say I watched it, is if somehow we could manage to convince Donatus to watch it and review it with us.
He will not be friends with us anymore.
We might.
He's the guy who didn't.
We might not be able to get him on the. God.
Yeah.
He made the right call when he found it out.
When he threw in the towel. He knew. So, all right. Well, good job. This is a good discussion. There's definitely a lot to talk about. Any new upcoming stuff? I know we kind of mentioned like now that we finished this series, maybe we'll do Underworld. I think they're all free to stream on Amazon or something right now, so we can get that while it's still there.
Yeah, we always have some Supernaturals to do.
Yeah.
But if anyone, I don't even know if anyone's been commenting or messaging us, but if you're out there, let us know if you'd rather us do these cool movies or what you prefer us to do, because we're completely up and willing to keep doing movies if you want. Yeah. But I'll tell you what is coming out that's going to be a lot better than this.
The Snyder Cut on Thursday. I tried to take the day off, but I got the evening off. I'm so excited.
I'll just wait till Saturday. Is it going to be on
How can you wait? Spoilers, bro.
Is it going to be online? Like, can you watch it through anywhere else?
I think it's just HBO Max.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, you
so
don't have to pay
it'll
for
be
it or
free?
anything. Yeah. Dude, I'm going to get popcorn. I just bought a bottle of tequila and some Sinfire yesterday. We're going to fucking have a blast. It'll be so
I'm trying
good.
to think if I got home super early on Thursday, I might be able to watch it before having to go to bed at like midnight.
You better watch it because I'm going to spoil the shit out of it for you. I'm going to be texting you everything. You better watch it, bro.
Well, maybe that should be the next movie we do.
I'm down. It doesn't fit our theme, but
It's sci-fi.
I guess.
What?
I'm down. If you want to talk about the Snyder Cut, I'll talk for hours. I'll talk. I'll talk for days.
All right, maybe it'll be a bonus episode. That's not necessarily a
For the
review.
Patreon.
The other thing I've been looking into, because I've been rewatching the Static Shock show, pretty badass. I didn't know that they're coming out with a live action movie.
Yep.
And then they possibly want to get into a series, but Michael B. Jordan's going to be producing it. How do you feel about that?
Oh, interesting.
I feel like that's a stretch. I don't know if he has those chops, and I feel like that might just.
Do they have someone cast as Static Shock yet?
I don't think so. What's interesting to me is that there's a fan film out there that someone made that is really good of Static, and they even have CGI in it, and the guy looks pretty good.
Oh, really?
And what's interesting is when people who have zero money can pull this off, and then they might end up like screwing up with the casting or the CGI. Yeah. I have high hopes because they've been doing really good lately with casting and all that stuff. So hopefully we'll get something. I thought I saw something about rumors for who they want to play it, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I would definitely.
Oh yeah. Have you gotten into? You don't watch much CW, but Black Lightning. That's a really good show.
No, that it actually, when it first came out, I remember watching the trailer and being super into it. Like, it looked really cool, and I heard
it's
got
good.
Decent reviews, like, you know, not the best, but not terrible, and it's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's a lot different than all the other CW shows. Like they definitely strayed away from like making it too cheesy or whatever.
Like
it's a lot darker. Yeah. They deal with a lot of like drug and gang issues.
Okay. But he ties into like the Legends of Tomorrow or whatever characters, right?
Yeah, and I think he also ties into Static's story because they mentioned Static in a couple episodes.
Easter eggs.
Like inadvertently, yeah. So
that's cool. I want to watch some of the CW shows, but I just really hate that soap opera dynamic. Like, I wish I'll pay someone a couple bucks. That's all I can spare. I'll give you $2 if you go and you edit the CW series and take out all the nonsense bullshit filler soap opera and just do the superhero stuff, like the comic book stuff, because
all of the CW shows are good for the first through third seasons ish, like Flash, Arrow, but then they started getting a lot of money and they had to like really basically do things that were for the fans and like do all these crossovers, which the crossover episodes are pretty cool, but like the filler episodes in seasons like 7, 8, or however fucking long they're at this point, I can't do it anymore. I fell off at like season 6.
Yeah. They did just release Superman and Lois, and I know that's like part of the CW line, but it's produced by HBO Max, so you can tell. Like, I watched the trailer for it, that it has a lot more money. Like, it looks way better produced, and I actually hear it's pretty good. So I might check that out because I like the guy who plays Superman. He has a good look.
Yeah, he fits. For obviously not.
He's no Henry Cavill, but you know.
Where are you at with Game of Thrones? You've been watching through. We're kind of neck and neck with the
I just
series.
finished episode 5, actually, where Jon Snow finally fucks Ygritte for the first time.
She's his wife.
What did you do with your mouth?
That was so good.
It's straight out of the book too, which is hilarious.
I just wanted to kiss you there.
He's like, I don't know what I did. I just wanted to kiss you there on the lips.
I bet you that would have been so disgusting. They do not bathe.
I know. They're wildlings. It's probably fucking, you find like juniper berries and cockroaches running through their shit. But one thing that I noticed this the first time when I was watching through the show, and I never finished it. I only got to where I am now. But one thing I really hate is Joffrey's character is just, it's too over the top. Like, it just doesn't like. I just watched the part where he was talking to Marjorie about how the old Dragon King like cut off
Oh,
the heads of horses or something and watched them die. Something along those lines. Somebody's lost their head and he just watched, and Joffrey was like, he was like fucking getting off on it. He was like jizzing all over the place talking about this story, and I was like, this it's just too much. Like it's not realistic. It doesn't feel he doesn't feel like an organic real character anymore. You know?
yeah, he goes a little over the top.
Yeah.
Like I think you definitely learn to hate him, and that's what they want you to do.
Mhm.
But then they breach past that point, and it's like, okay, I've had enough of this kid.
Now he's just, like a very cartoony comic booky villain or whatever. But
Yeah.
it doesn't really fit with the rest of the show.
Mhm. What else are you watching right now?
We just started True Detective season 3. We watched the first episode and it was really good. That's definitely something. It's on HBO Max. You should watch that. It's a really good show. It's got a lot of big names in it. Like season 1 is Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. Season 2, you got Colin Farrell, Vince Vaughn,
What the hell?
Taylor Kitsch, and oh god, she's really hot. What's her name? Oh my god, what is her name? She's from Mean Girls. She plays Doctor Strange's girlfriend, the nurse.
Hmm.
Oh my god. Why am I spacing out her name? Okay, Rachel McAdams. That's who it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a pretty good cast. It's pretty good storytelling, so you should check that out.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think that's coming out this month.
Yes, I'm very excited for that. Comes out the day
Yeah.
after the Snyder Cut, so we're just gonna get hit with a lot of good stuff, man.
Oh yeah.
I haven't finished WandaVision yet. I think I'm on episode 4 or 5.
I'm on episode like 3.
It's really good.
It's
I'm
it's
surprised.
tough though because everyone is spoiling the shit out of that show.
I know. You just have to like not look at anything and watch it. But,
Yeah. Sucks.
yeah, but Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they just released a new like teaser for it, and it's gonna be so damn good. So stoked.
Another podcast, Life is Short with Justin Long. He interviewed Anthony Mackie, and that was pretty good.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
That's
I love
good
that
listen.
Podcast. Yeah,
He
if anyone
he
hasn't
didn't
listened
really give
to
too
that
much hint.
about
Yeah,
the
it's
show.
a good one. Yeah. I think it's going to be about like the struggle of like him wanting to or not wanting to take up the mantle, and I think they're going to deal a little bit with like kind of some race issues and like
Yeah, that's what I heard. Which is cool.
So-
It's an interesting, twist on a unique take.
Mhm.
But I love Bucky. I think he's like the coolest Marvel character, so I'm glad to see more of him. But I wish he kept his hair. He doesn't look as cool with his short hair.
He had some good hair.
I know. I wish I had hair like that. A little greasy
Now
at
I'm trying-
times, but look good.
Trying to grow mine out to the Kit Harington length.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, you could definitely by next Halloween, if you kept growing it out, you could cosplay. You could dress up as Jon Snow.
I think it'll look the same, but we'll see.
That'd be pretty cool. Are you actually gonna try to do that? You gonna grow it out?
Yeah, I'm gonna grow it.
Nice.
So if you guys want to see me on OnlyFans, I'll be starting that up soon too.
Naughty Jon Snow.
Someone's out there ruining my name.
The Snow name. I'm not a bastard.
I think that's all we got for you guys.
Next
yeah,
up,
I think this.
Wonder. I don't know. What do we? I guess we'll figure it out. We'll talk about it. See what we're gonna.
Yeah, we keep hoping you guys will comment and tell us what to do, so we don't have to do the work of figuring it out.
Yeah, it's already enough work having to record and then to edit. Like, can you at least tell us what you want? Come on, fans.
Yeah. But I think this was a pretty good episode, so guys, enjoy it. Give us 5 stars if you could. Really helps. I don't know if we have any reviews yet, but it'd be cool if we got one.
We got one from someone who says I'm very sexy.
Oh yeah, I bet that one paid for.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, until next time, stay scary and stay sexy, everybody.
We out.
Yo, it's the feast of the blood was sin. Unleash the beast within. I walk around with the strength of 100 men. You best to run before I count the 10. Blood dripping from my canine like a fountain pen. It seems I've been asleep for
Blade, ready to die.
I was born ready, motherfucker.